This is part 4, collective message. You can go back and see the other parts, but you do not have to. We are talking about spirituals and slavery, some, information and history, and intuitive collective message along with it that is very beautiful, very inspiring. So I do recommend watching them. I'm continuing where I left off, framing identity, formation, and mobilization of resources in this part. As communal discourse spirituals, which the songs fostered identity, which catalyzed emotional change. It really connects you to emotional change, and perhaps most interestingly offered a political mechanism for transgressive speech by encoding their spirituals with complex, layered, and covert meanings. The slaves, in effect, created their own Pidgin. And I did not look that up. That was one word I wanted to look up. I've never heard it before. But the spirituals were sung in English into the master's ears. They might as well have been sung in the, slaves' native tongue. So it made no difference how they were singing it. With the spirituals' religious connotations and seemingly obvious praise of God, the master or overseer might well be proud that his slaves were singing Christian praise as well, and they just didn't give two shits, they just overlooked it. Very possible. Praise and encourage them to sing out. So they would praise and encourage them to do that, and ironically supported in their rebellion. While the codes, most often scriptural references given new meanings, were most often focused on details for escape. At times, they gestured toward mental freedom and religious transformation. For instance, Steal Away offered hope to those slaves who could not physically escape but could only steal away to the Lord. But Steal Away did not merely function as mentalistic relief. The singing of the song meant that a secret meeting would be held that night to discuss the possibilities of escape, or to signal that the Underground Railroad guides would soon arrive. So also you can think of this when you get the coded messages through song, through frequency. This is, intuitive message coming in. There is always secret and layered meanings, and they come to you through the Underground Railroad, through the senses, and you have to truly know how to connect to that and to know when to tune in. So, in this way, not only were the lyrics codified, but also the very performance of a spiritual held significance. Coded spirituals then operated as mobilization, then as mobilization resource, as well as an information archive. So you have the information that is stored there, and it's also a resource that provides things to move about in a very efficient, smooth way, without obstacle, so much. In a word, the spirituals functioned as a social action music, a call to others to bring forth this. So continued influence now. Slave spirituals not only played a crucial role in facilitating relief and escape for thousands of slaves, but also left a vital record of the conditions of slave life before manumission. This record, however, was suppressed for many years. Many freed slaves did not want to talk about their lives, like many cultures and peoples who undergo utter torment on many levels, and you got PTSD. But under slavery, let alone continue to perform their daily troubles in song. The Fisk Jubilee singers changed this viewpoint. However, when they began performing around the country in the 1870s to raise funds for their school, founded in 1866, as one of the first black colleges in the United States, Fisk, Fisk University was in serious financial trouble by 1871. George L. White, a music professor and treasurer of the school, organized a 9-member choral ensemble, like a choir ensemble for a fundraising tour, but not quite like that. The Jubilee singers serenaded audiences with slave spirituals, and despite a rough start, soon began to bring in large crowds and substantial donations. The singers were instrumental in making it acceptable to perform slave spirituals, and help to widen reception as a pleasurable experience. They opened the door for many other artists to perform the spiritual and to crystallize the genre as indigenous style. After emancipation and during the Jim Crow era, black singers found it extremely difficult to initiate viable careers. And you can see this in a lot of minorities and those in certain like classes or, levels of what society puts us at. But no matter how talented they are, to better cope, and also you can think of it as people who get less chances because of the different mindset that they're in, on a completely different mindset sometimes. But to better cope with continued prejudice, several singers, such as Roland Haynes and Marian Anderson among them, moved to Europe to establish themselves in countries with fewer racial biases, and once they had established their careers, they returned to the United States. So Hayes graduated from Fisk, determined to be the first professionally successful black singer of classical music. In 1920, after 4 unsuccessful years of touring the United States, Hayes set out for a European tour, hoping for better reception. He had remarkable success in Europe, and upon his return to the United States, was then welcomed. Once established in American musical circles, he began to incorporate slave spirituals into his programs. His sensitive interpretations won him wide acclaim. Something different, something unique, bringing something to the forefront. His book of slave spirituals, entitled My Songs, published in 1948, helped catalyze the career of Marian Anderson. And I actually have a book about her that I got that I haven't read yet, but I'm very interested to read it now. But she traveled to Europe to begin her career and later returned to America as an established concert artist. Anderson felt a strong connection to her ancestors and incorporated spirituals into nearly every concert program. Let's go to the next part. Last part next.